Our next inductee hails from nearby Du Bois High School. She was an extremely talented javelin thrower. How talented, you might ask? Kim set the school record on her first throws here at Clarion. She is the highest NCAA place winner in track and field in Clarion history, placing second in the javelin at the NCAAs in 2010, and then, of course, coming back in 2012 and earning All-American again. Please welcome Kim Hanslovan Marshall. Nervous?
Always.
Okay. Congratulations on your induction. You know, we talked several times this winter, or spring, I should say. I do remember you so well from your days of competition. You were saying that after graduation from Du Bois, you went to Penn State and then ended up transferring to Clarion. Why the move to Clarion?
It's kind of a difficult story to tell. Really, you come out of high school and you have this plan, this idea of where life will take you. God decided otherwise. It just did not work out. So my life kind of got twisted upside down after my sophomore season at Penn State. So I looked at my life scenario and I decided I wanted to be an education major. Clarion is a fantastic university for education. It was close to where I was currently living as I commuted during my entire tenure here at Clarion. And everything just fit. Everything worked out so well for me to fit into the Clarion University that it just worked out. And I truly believe that was God's plan throughout the entire scenario, throughout my entire collegiate career. I just kind of fell into it, and it turned out to be great. I'm so happy to be honored in this avenue at this time, and I want to thank you all for being here. And just to have this opportunity in this Hall of Fame, even to address any athlete in any capacity, is an honor.
When you first came to Clarion was the fall of 2009, and DJ actually wasn't the coach then. He came, I think, December or January, whatever, 2010. And then you had to work together to prepare for 2010. Tell us how that came about.
So when I first got here, Coach Resch was the coach at the time, and I was commuting from Luthersburg, about 55 minutes from here, and I was working full-time at Sears, of all places. I sold televisions, but I knew I wanted to continue with my track and field career. So Coach Resch and I, when I first transferred here, we kind of had an understanding. I wasn't the typical collegiate athlete. I wasn't on campus 24 hours a day. So I had to kind of work with him. And my boyfriend at the time, now husband, Steve Marshall, is a fantastic unit in my entire life. But he knew strength and conditioning. So I worked with Coach Resch and actually worked out from home. So most of my conditioning that fall happened at home, actually. I went to some practices here at the university, but a lot of my strength and conditioning, because it was off season, track and field. So I did that from home. Then Coach Resch decided to leave the university, and DJ Bevavino decided to be the head coach of track and field at Clarion University. I remember sitting in the back stairwell of this building, which is nothing like it was when I was here. The renovation is beautiful. But we sat in the back stairwell, literally on the steps, and I said, hey, this is my life. These are the parameters. Steve is my strength and conditioning coach. Are you okay with this? Can we work together? And honestly, it became a unit. It was me, Steve, and DJ, and we decided every workout, every throw, everything we were doing together, it was really a whole unit. But it worked out fantastically. And again, I have to attribute this to God's plan. Really, it could not have worked without him. So,
Your first competition was at Grove City, and your second competition was at IUP in 2010. You had broken the school record both times. I mean, how did you feel coming right out of the chute doing that?
well, again, I came from Penn State. I had just set the record at Penn State University. I was on the Big Ten teams. I got third at Big Tens. I came to Clarion with a mission. I wanted to prove that I chose Division II for a reason, and I wanted to do well. So coming out the gate, being able to break the school record, it was an accomplishment and a testament to my hard work, Steve's and DJ's all together, to work all together and to be able to accomplish something so grand and so wonderful.
Now, you go to PSACs that year, and everybody likes to think that the weather at these championships, it's sunny, it's 70 degrees. That wasn't the case.
Well, track and field, if you don't know, you have to be prepared for anything. Sometimes we compete when it's snowing, you compete when it's raining, you compete in all conditions. So you have to be prepared for that. However, PSAC championships, javelin in the newer age, right? You're supposed to throw off of turf or off of track. So you can wear spikes and you can throw. I'm a power thrower. I had a lot of power. Well, PSACs was off of a grass runway. Now, imagine trying to throw a stick off of grass. It's slippery, it's raining, it's cold. How do you do such a thing, especially when your entire power comes from your lower body? Well, it was slippery. I was throwing javelin. My foot slipped over the line for one of the throws, and then I just had to buck up. I actually shortened up my run-up even just to have a throw. I did end up having a winning throw, which is amazing, but track and field weather, it's very rarely 7 degrees and sunny.
Well, you did win the PSAC championship that year. Just for people to assimilate, if you're a golfer and you're hitting the ball into a 25-mile-an-hour wind, and it's at least 2 clubs, maybe 3 clubs more. So imagine trying to throw a javelin, in that kind of weather. That's pretty tough. NCAAs were at Charlotte. The defending national champion was there. You threw against her and ended up obviously second, but you want to talk about those throws at nationals? And you're second at nationals, best ever here at Clarion.
So it was really an amazing event. At nationals, there was this huge banner right behind the javelin runway, and it said in real big letters, "I chose Division II," and it just spoke to me, right? So I threw hard. The defending national champion also did very, very well. We were competing back and forth throughout the entire throwing event. She ended up being the champion, so kudos to her. That's amazing. But it was just an amazing avenue to throw at and to decide, yes, I did choose Division II, and it was an amazing experience.
160 feet 3 inches tall.
Yeah.
Okay. You redshirted 2011. Your goal was to win a national championship in 2012. And I just spent 6 weeks at Myrtle Beach, so I like the area. You don't like it so much. In the spring of 2012, things came crash. Just tell everybody all that hard work for a year and a half or so, how it came crashing.
So for about a year and a half, DJ, Steve, and I, we watched film, we critiqued, we changed the angle of my release on the javelin. We were ready. We all worked together to have the best start of the season ever. We go down to Myrtle Beach. It's gorgeous. It's sunny. This is the rare event in which track and field occurs when it's still beautiful outside. I was stoked. I was ready to go. So 2 days before competition, we're doing warm-ups, we're throwing. I was throwing very hard, trying to see what I could do, right? I took a year and a half off. So my first warm-up throw, furthest warm-up throw of my entire career. I mean, since freshman in high school, I was doing fantastic. I run over to DJ. I'm like, hey, this is working out. Everything's paying off. We're going to do awesome. It was 2 days before competition, though, so I was super excited. The next day, again, 1 day before competition, we decide, hey, let's throw hard again. Let's see if we can do it. again, your warm-up throws were amazing. I go do my very first warm-up throw the day before competition. I hear a pop in my elbow. Like, huh, great, right? So I go to the trainer. Trainer looks it over and says, oh, I think you just have a little swelling. Take the evening off, you'll be fine. So I put some ice on it. Then we go to the actual competition day. I don't do any warm-up throws. I obviously warm up still. I'm still in the good athletic position. I don't take any throws because my elbow had hurt even just moving it back and forth. So the competition starts. I take my very first throw. I break the record at the event, at the actual invitational record, and I hear a pop again, and then I can barely move my arm. There was a fire, literal fire through my 2 fingers, so I knew something was wrong. It took quite a while to diagnose what happened, but I tore my UCL, which is like Tommy John surgery, for that. And they also had to move my ulnar collateral ligament. But overall, it was a beautiful venue. So I have that to remember on, right? The beautiful weather. So it was kind of disappointing to start my senior season with an injury. But we worked through it.
So you ended up going to nationals at Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
You still took 6th, even though you almost took the entire time off just trying to heal up. Talk about the throws at nationals.
So I think I only threw like times that entire season. We went to nationals. It was in Pueblo, Colorado. Colorado's a windy place. Imagine trying to throw a stick in the wind. And I was injured. So the first couple throws, it was a mental game, really. I was defeated. I was injured. I didn't think I could accomplish anything. And then Steve Marshall kind of yelled at me, told me to buck up. You're at nationals. This is your senior year. Throw something. And then my third throw, that competition, I threw enough to get into finals. And it turned out it was more of a mental game at that point. I had to overcome the pain, but I did end up placing at national, so that was encouraging. Just wish I hadn't gotten hurt the first meet of the season.
2-time All-American, still not too shabby.
Yeah.
One last thing, and if you could maybe just shorten this, but we talked about this. You and DJ, I think, I don't know if your husband did or not, but you took this side trip to in Pueblo. Tell them about that.
So my husband, Steve, he's my husband now. My husband, Steve, and I were very adventurous people. So we kind of convinced DJ, we're in Pueblo, Colorado, not too far from the Great Sand Dunes National Park. We convinced him to take us there. So we had a minivan, had to have a minivan because it had to fit a javelin while you're traveling, right? So Steve pulls up the rudimentary GPS that existed in 2012. And we decide we're going to go to the Great Sand Dunes National Park. So DJ's driving, Steve's giving the directions, I'm in the back. Steve gives them directions through this path, and there's like signs that say like 4x4 only, Jeep equipped only. We're in a minivan. DJ drives up the side of this mountain, and we get up to the very top, and there's these people camping out along the way. I need to let you know. There was a group on donkeys, you know, like those little tours you can pay for that like no one's supposed to see you because you're on donkeys going upside the mountain. We had a minivan, we passed them, and then we made it to the top of the mountain, and we get out and stop and talk to these people that are camping on this mountain. And we're like, hey, how do we get to the Great Sand Dunes National Park? They're like, how did you get where you are? This should not have occurred. You're in a minivan. How did you get up here? It's 4x4 only. So we said, well, we're trying to get there. They're like, well, it's the right direction, except it's the whole way over the top of this mountain. You cannot get there from here. You have to turn around and go back. So DJ's driving this minivan, scraping on rocks. Of course, Steve gets out and takes a video. It's pretty entertaining story. We should not have been where we were. That's the moral of the story.
Some thank yous before we go.
Oh yeah, I do want to again thank you all for being here tonight, even for Clarion University to have a sports program, to have the Hall of Fame. It is a fantastic thing to recognize athletes with all of their hard work. I want to thank especially DJ Bevavino for allowing me to continue the way I did throughout the collegiate career. It was definitely not the typical path you would have expected, but most of all, I want to thank Steve Marshall, my husband now, for being just my rock through all of it. Without him, none of this would have happened. I have no idea where life would have ended up, but it certainly would not have been on this stage tonight. So again, thank you all. Thank you for having this wonderful Hall of Fame experience, and I appreciate being honored for tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kim Hanslovan Marshall.